Okay, so let's see how to install Git on Windows. My favorite project for Git for Windows is msysgit, which, as you can see the URL here, msysgit.github.io, and it allows you to install Git very easily. Let's try to do that here. So we click download, we click on run. It takes a bit here to download. Click on run again. I allow it. And here I'm presented with this setup wizard. So basically there's an open source general public license. Click on next. These options I leave as is. There's some options that you might want to research a little bit, but they're fine for a beginning usage. And here I'm also gonna only select Git Bash. So Git Bash is kind of like a terminal utility, and so we'll see later on this lesson, the best way to use Git is by using the terminal. And Git Bash is basically a terminal program that runs on top of Windows, but allows you to use some of the commands that are used in other platforms like Linux and Mac. So select Git Bash. That first option is well. When you get into more advanced knowledge of Git, then the third option is good because it'll also install some utilities that are also useful. But we click next here, leave this as is, and then it'll start installing the files. Perfect. I don't want to see the release note. I click on finish and we're all set. We now have basically, let me minimize this. So now we have this option here called Git Bash. And Git Bash is a terminal program that I was telling you about. It's also here if you go to all programs and you look for Git, and you'll see here Git Bash as well. But Git Bash is basically a terminal program that allows you to interact with the commands that we're going to see later in this chapter. So let's see some of the commands that are used in this environment. The first one you'll want to use is pwd, and that's basically shows you where in what directory you're actually in that moment. So basically we're now at C users Jorge. If I want to see the contents of the directory where I'm at, I type ls, and I can see, even though it's scrolled more than the height of the window, but you can see all the files that are in that directory that I'm at that moment. And if I want to make a directory, let's say I want to make the directory mygit, I type mkdir, make directory. And once a directory is done, then I can do cd, which is change to that directory. So if I change to cd mygit and I type ls, I see that there's nothing in there, and it's telling me here that I'm in that directory. If I type pwd again, now I see that I'm in C users Jorge mygit. And if you go to the Explorer, you'll see, if you go to desktop and your users, and you'll see mygit here. That's the file, that's the directory, I mean, that we just created, and there's nothing in there at the moment. So I'll have those written down in the course documents, but those are the four basic ones that we're gonna be using in terms of file and directory management. And all those commands come from the Linux Unix world, but they're not too complicated and doesn't take away in any case of your knowledge of Windows, but rather makes it easy to teach the course and manage the same way all the Git projects using the same commands.